The film opens on a familiar cinematic tableau. A dead body floats face down in a sunlit California pool, while detectives study the scene with the exhausted expressions of people who have seen desire make for very unreliable witnesses. This direct homage to the opening of Sunset Boulevard grounds the audience in traditional noir expectations before the story begins to dismantle them. The film quickly flips the classic genre hierarchy. Instead of an older, powerful man pulling a vulnerable young woman into his orbit, we follow Elliot, a directionless young intern absorbed into the world of Erika Tracy, a wealthy and influential contemporary artist. Reversing these roles turns a standard crime story into a look at how modern power dynamics expose the increasingly thin line between victimhood and ambition. Before Elliot ever becomes evidence in a murder investigation, he is professionally invisible. He exists as a blunt canvas, lacking the direction or confidence to build an identity for himself. This diagram highlights a specific cultural paradox. A generation that possesses a massive online vocabulary for boundaries and identity, yet continues to struggle with the messy physical reality of actual vulnerability. We see this detachment in Elliot's relationship with his girlfriend Minerva. Their connection feels like an administrative arrangement, occupying the roles of partners while remaining emotionally distant from one another. Erika Tracy provides the absolute opposite of that detachment. She is a human provocation whose pop feminist art and absolute certainty offer Elliot the sense of purpose he's been missing. Accepting this new, exciting identity places Elliot in a precarious position, as the woman shaping his life is also the person signing his paychecks. Erika systematically dismantles the professional boundaries between them. She dictates his wardrobe and his behavior, essentially painting over his life as she moves from employer to mentor, seducer, and eventually dominatrix. For a young man who has spent years paralyzed by hesitation, Erika's strict rules and absolute control feel like a true liberation. Following her instructions entirely removes the heavy burden of having to decide for himself. Elliot mistakes this extreme level of attention for the discovery of an authentic self. To him, Erika's intensity feels more like real life than the quiet detachment experienced with Minerva. Elliot's transformation creates a ripple effect through his social circle. His roommate Apple watches this reckless surrender with a discomfort that suggests her own deep-seated repression is being challenged. This raises the question of whether Elliot is actually finding himself, or if he is simply becoming addicted to the approval of a powerful person. In Erika's world, everything is material. She treats human bodies, personal scandal, and private desire as objects that can be framed, sold, and intellectualized within the art market. Director Gregg Araki and co-writer Charli used this setting to satirize art world pretension and the ways transgression is often used as a rather than a radical act. Eventually, the muse begins to observe the artist. Elliot starts to see that Erika's performance of total freedom might be a mask for a deep terror of appearing ordinary or unremarkable. The film forces a confrontation with the reality of consent, when professional survival and financial power are tied so closely to a physical relationship. When boundaries are treated as nothing more than experimental art, the physical consequences cannot be explained away with clever language. The presence of detectives Zola and Zem recontextualizes every memory. A seductive conversation or a jealous look from weeks ago is suddenly transformed into potential evidence of a motive. Elliot's narration is shaped by the pressure of the moment. Memory is rarely neutral when survival depends on convincing the authorities of a specific version of events. This Venn diagram maps the difficulty of assigning clear guilt. The relationships are built from overlapping layers of consent, ambition, and psychological manipulation. At the center, the boundaries blur so completely that identifying the single villain becomes impossible. All the modern vocabulary regarding boundaries and identity collapses the moment it encounters the physical reality of the body in the pool. Inside the interrogation room, Elliot's shifting expressions suggest a specific kind of dread. He appears less frightened by the police than by the possibility that he has lost Erika's attention. Losing Erika would mean returning to the professional invisibility he spent years trying to escape. She gave him a scandalous, important identity, and without it, he risks becoming a blank canvas once again. The film leaves us with several possibilities. Elliot may be a traumatized survivor, a manipulator taught by the best, or a new artist already preparing to turn the tragedy into his own story. Ultimately, the greatest danger isn't the person who exerts physical control. It's the person who provides you with an identity and then convinces you that without them, you disappear.